this stuff. Free to a good home.
Get it out of here.
Oh.
It's time for us to give up GoPro.
Oh man. No GoPro.
No GoPro.
That is the theme for the day.
Well, welcome back to Moto Photo Adventures, everybody. We are basically just going to let you know about our frustrations with dealing with GoPro over the many years. What would you say, 4 or 5 years of motorcycle travel adventures with you?
We started in our first episode.
Mexico, right?
Yes, Mexico. But our first episode for Moto Photo was in like October or November of 19 because it was our announcement that I was going to be editing your trip.
Oh, right.
So that was our first one that we used. I don't remember what device we used to record that. It could have been a phone. It could have been anything. I can't remember what we used.
Back then, we just didn't use phones for a lot of stuff. But
that is true.
I know I had 1, if not 2, GoPros for the Mexico trip. So we probably used those. And back then, we probably weren't using our DSLRs either. But you guys, we have really created a ton of content using GoPro's products. And so for that, we are grateful.
We are.
But
they've actually given us some support. You've called in on a couple of occasions to get some things fixed or replaced or whatever. And so that's
some replacements.
We're not complaining about everything.
Yes.
We just have some.
And lately, it just seems like it's escalating. So we are basically doing this podcast/YouTube episode to essentially let you know about the frustrations we've been having and also to ask for your help. We want to know what we should do and who we should use if we're quitting GoPro.
Right.
So,
well, we have a couple of options on the table.
We do. Before we get to that, though, before we get to that, we have one, but let's let everybody know what we do use and what positions we use them in and stuff like that.
Sure. Well, here we go. We have all of the stuff right here.
I mean, this is like a fraction. I mean, we have
a
buckets full of accessories and GoPro, the mods and the remote controls, but we have tons of stuff that isn't on here.
That's true.
So
that's true. So, but if you want to take a look at a scattering of examples of GoPros that we have, we've got the 8.
Hero 8, which I love.
Yep. We got the 9.
We have 2 of those.
And then we got the 360.
The Max 360.
That's right. And then we have a couple of, all the accessories with the battery chargers.
Multi-chargers.
And then from third-party places like X-Star, we have those battery chargers. We actually really like these. They work great.
They work great.
I don't know if they make battery chargers for other brands and stuff, but I guess we will find out at some point,
more
right?
Multi-chargers here. So we have a ton of batteries because as we're traveling on our motorcycle trips, each of us keeps a battery charger, like let's say this is in our tank bag, wired to the USB outlet on the bike, so that I've got 2 batteries charging from my alternator as I'm riding, while this one is recording down by the front wheel, and this one is maybe a tail gunner, as we call it, recording from behind. And so you're constantly using batteries and recharging spares. That way, when you stop for gas or you stop for lunch, you can swap out batteries, you can swap out memory cards.
Right. And not to mention all of the other, like we carry small little battery packs. I do anyway, for other things, for phones or whatever other items that we have. So, in part of the decision making that we're doing here is that continuity between the items. Like one of the things we were discussing prior to starting recording is that we're having to carry 3 different cords around.
Right.
Micro SD, USB-C, Lightning for my old iPhone that I don't carry anymore. I mean, it's gotten to the point of confusion and complexity, and we will also talk about failures.
Yes.
And so it's time to do a thing.
Yeah.
It's time to do some upgrades and whatnot.
If you are a motorcycle adventurer and YouTube your videos or capture your videos for your own pleasure, let us know. We have heard great things about the DJI Action 4, and I'm hearing rumors that the 5 is on the way out. We're very familiar. Can't keep up. We're very familiar with DJI products. We absolutely love the DJI Osmo Action 3.
Yes, that's great. It's absolutely great.
And of course, I have multiple DJI drones. If you've ever seen any of our epic adventures, the great drone shots are always a favorite for Jason to edit into the videos. So we love DJI. We think they're a fantastic company in terms of the offerings.
Yes.
So what do you think if you use the DJI? I'm talking to you, Heather, and who else uses DJI? A bunch of people use the DJI. So let us know what you guys think, if you've been happy with that product. You know, any issues that you've had, we're particularly interested in those, because that's really the main reason why we're quitting GoPro. We don't want to be out recording an epic adventure and get home and Jason's like, the 360 stopped again.
Well, let's talk about that for just a second.
All right.
We were out on an adventure on the Panhandle Adventure Trail. Got back to the house, and as I do, I put all of the footage onto a hard drive and I stick it on a shelf for a couple of 3 or 4 weeks to digest what we just did and to catch up with work that I had not done while we were gone. And then I go
client
back.
emails.
Yes, and then I go back through the exhausting and comprehensive task of organizing it all. And when I came through it, I found on a number of occasions, and it's very bizarre, that the 360 would stop recording video and keep recording the audio.
How bizarre.
And it didn't go black. It froze on the last video frame that it recorded, and I could still hear the audio. And one of the big scenes in our Florida trip was the first really big, you know, sandy puddle of 30 yards across, and we stopped, and you took the effort of taking this out to the edge and putting it down and hitting the button, and then nothing.
Nothing. You got no footage to show.
I got nothing.
That is so frustrating.
I cannot tell you how frustrating it is to not be able to depend and trust that this gizmo is doing the thing, because from a distance you could see that it still had a picture up there because it froze.
Right.
And so I'm going,
and the light's still blinking, so
we're good,
I know it's recording.
It was still recording, but it was only recording audio. And
we use the remote controls, and so it still shows that it's recording on the remote.
So when you finally get to the point where you no longer have faith in the equipment, you have to make a decision. Is it because it's old? Is it because we rode it on motorcycles all the time? Is it because we beat the mess out of it? Is it because we've recorded hundreds of hours of footage on it? Is it because it's just old? Or
is it GoPro?
Now, yes. Is it GoPro? Is it real or is it Memorex? Is it GoPro or no GoPro? Or no GoPro? So we've had a lot of discussions about all of this, and one of the things that we have determined is it might not be age. It might not be damage. It might just be the GoPro, because they have other issues like bulging batteries, overheating. There was one when we were at the log cabin on the Canada trip where I was recording something on the balcony with you. Oh, no, I'm sorry, you were recording it, and you had turned it and then turned it, and it stayed upside down in the final recording. The menu item stayed up on screen. Weird, just weird, bizarre things like that can't happen because it's not something that you are constantly paying attention to. You need to be able to put it into a place where you can't see it, hit the button, and know that it does its thing. And it's happened, fails too many times.
And even when we're off the trail, the Hero 9, at one point we were using it to record a how-to video on my Touareg 660. And we had 2 cameras rolling, fortunately, but the Hero 9 must have overheated because it shut off. So all 3 of the brands or models now, so GoPro is on a Hero 12 now. So we understand these aren't brand new products, but it's not like we abuse them. Well, we sort of do. But that we use them in their intended nature, right?
Yes.
They're action cameras. They're supposed to be mounted to handlebars and stuff like that.
You're supposed to beat them up and throw them down the road and whatnot. They're supposed to be able to take it.
Yeah.
I had a number of them overheat on me in just the backyard one day.
Right.
I mean, like I was doing a review of a weed eater, for heaven's sakes, and I had to put an umbrella over me and the GoPro because it kept overheating right in the direct sunlight. And I understand direct sunlight in South Carolina, and it's 100 degrees and blah blah blah. But my phone did.
Had a problem.
My other cameras don't, and so there it is.
Well, what about the other brand? We mentioned the DJI, which we're a little bit familiar with.
Yes.
our good friend Frank Guy from Francis West Studios has loaned us his DJI Insta360 Ace Pro.
Okay.
And he absolutely loves it. I think partly because he graduated from a Hero 8. Yeah, he's using it for a different purpose. He's using it as a fourth or fifth alternate wide-angle shot for churches and places like that when he's shooting weddings. So the Ace Pro does get touted as really good in low-light situations. However, a lot of the reviews that we have seen in terms of its action camera capabilities is that it's probably not ideal. Part of it's because the DJI has a removable front. So as you know, if we mount this down by our front wheel and a rock kicks out and hits the glass, we would have to replace this entire unit, whereas the DJI has a removable front element. So
it's a convenience.
That's a little thing. The other thing people say too is, this is kind of neat, the flippable screen, but as an action camera that you're really going to put out into the elements, that's just one thing that could break at some point. So there's that. I do love the clippy things though.
Oh, the clippy things. Here, let me see the clippy things. I want to show this up to the top camera real close.
So you basically, instead of like using these crazy little knobs, this is the Hero 8. And that's how you mount stuff. So we've been using ram arms because it's a little bit faster.
But this is better because you got those little clippies and you got these little, maybe do it. Yep, there it goes. These little clippies like that, right? And then you just clip it.
And it's kind of magnetically drawn to itself, too.
Yeah, and so the cool thing about that is, honestly, the big deal about that, to me, gloves.
Oh, right, yeah.
I got big old gloves. So if we can get rid of this gizmo out of there so that I can grab it, then you just pinch.
Right.
And it's done instead of having to fiddle with lining all up the things and, all of that. So, if you got to line up the bolt in there, on a motorcycle, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Especially with gloves.
Right, correct.
And I think Frank just has this on here because he also has a GoPro. So he's using that setup. But I think you can get this clippy thing without the GoPro.
Is that the official name? The
clippy things.
I like it.
I have heard, and we don't have a DJI Action 4, and DJI has not sent us an Action 5 to pre-evaluate.
Cough, hint, nudge, wink.
But I hear that they have a clippy system as well. So I'd be interested if you are a DJI action camera user, if you like their clip style. So.
But now, our other option.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we have DJI with the Osmo, and we have DJI, or the Insta with the Ace. So now, we have to decide.
Or the Ace Pro.
Or the Ace Pro.
Another question. Do you get the Ace or the Ace Pro? It's about a $100 difference.
What's the difference between the Ace and the Ace Pro?
The Ace Pro has a larger sensor. Again, better in low light. It does 8K. The Ace only goes to 6K. We don't need either.
Right. And most people
similar
won't.
Form factor.
Most people will not need 6 or 8. Most people will not need 4.
Right. So
1080 is perfectly fine for the things that you're going to do in most occasions. 8K is for professionals if you want to zoom in. We could do a whole show on just the reasons for high resolutions. But the big difference between the two are the sensors.
Oh, really? Actually, I forgot the biggest thing to us. The Ace Pro has fast charging. The Ace has regular charging.
Okay. Does that fast charging include battery bricks or just into the wall?
Yeah, battery bricks too.
Okay, cool. But you have to have a battery brick that pushes it.
I would imagine.
Yes.
But that's huge to us when we're on the road. Sometimes we'll stop for lunch and all of us are looking for outlets, plugging stuff in to get it up to date.
Except for me because I brought a bunch of batteries.
Right.
Okay, so with that being said, we've touched on Insta and we've touched on DJI. Let's talk about a little bit of what our current scheme for replacing GoPros is.
Okay.
Have we landed on one yet?
Well, before you get to that, why don't you tell them a little bit about the other Insta360 product?
That's what I was getting to.
Okay.
So in the plan for us, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we've had a number of different discussions and different permutations on how we're going to actually do this.
And we need their help in making the plan.
Right. So what we're thinking is The DJI Osmo Pocket 3 is going to be the one that we use for most of our run and gun interviews. Where you're just walking into the restaurant or talking to the owner of the business or whatever, because they come with the 2 small DJI mics.
Yes.
Which I don't have on me at the moment, but you know what we're talking about, the little DJI mics. Yeah. And so they instantly hook to that and makes interviews very, very simple.
Oh, here, let me clip this to your shirt. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
I mean, it's a bit bulky, but it works perfectly.
Yeah.
The other thing is that in our planning is that we need at least one down low, hit the rocks, fall off the bike, action cam.
Yeah.
And we are going to go with either the Ace Pro or the other one.
It's the sacrificial lamb that we put in the very...
Yes, it's the one you throw off the cliff after the diver. You know, you know that's kind of, you know, that's what we're thinking with this. But then we're also thinking that we are going to do the other Insta 360 offering, the competitor to the Max, which is, what is it, the X4 now?
Yes.
So we're thinking we're going to get 2 of the X4s, because those do 360-degree video, but they do something better than the GoPro does.
Right.
Which is 4K single lens.
Single lens, yeah.
And that is a big deal for us because we are going to use those primarily on the handlebars of our bikes and for second and third angles if we're doing an interview.
Right.
Rather than break out our phones.
Correct.
So that pretty much is the overview plan. Tell us how we missed the mark.
Well, I'll tell you my biggest hold up and what is difficult for me is, number one, everybody that all the YouTubers I've been following say that the Ace and Ace Pro are inferior in image quality to the DJI.
Well, do you find that that's the case?
Well, I don't know. I haven't played with the DJI.
Oh, I'm talking about in your video review watching. So are you finding that people are finding that's the case?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is people are saying that for action cameras, the Ace and the Ace Pro, the image quality is not as good as the image quality of the DJI.
Do you happen to know the price difference?
If you get the Ace, it's on sale right now for $250. The Ace Pro is $350. The DJI Osmo 4 or DJI Action 4 is $299. The Hero 12 is $299.
So they're comparable.
Those are today's prices.
They're all within $50 to $75 of each other.
Right.
So what are then in your research did you find that would be a determining factor between Insta Ace Pro or otherwise and the other, the DJI?
Well, see, that's the quandary. If in a perfect world, I would get the Action 4 for our down low, put it in harm's way camera.
Right.
It has the removable front lens, better quality, image quality theoretically. However, DJI doesn't make a 360 camera. So they don't make a replacement for this, and we freaking love our 360 camera.
Have to have it. I mean, there's oftentimes, you can find unique and interesting ways to use a 360 camera, and this could be a show on its own. But a lot of times when we're not doing a sit and staged interview where we're sitting beside each other and asking questions and talking to the audience, we'll put the 360 camera just dead in the middle of the table.
Right.
And sit all the way around it, and we can then have a 4 camera, 5 camera, whatever it is, 2 shot, 2 shot, 1 shot. You know, so the 360 camera has actually turned out very, very nicely.
If you haven't, check out some of our travel videos, like when we go to Nova Scotia, or the Notches Parkway that we did. You know, there's so many great little interviews that we did around the table where we just set that. And Jason just points the camera at the person that's talking, and then it comes to this guy talking, and he just switches the camera to that person.
That's right.
I mean, it's
in fact, in our next episode of the Panhandle Adventure Trail, okay, so we're recording this in the middle of July, and we just released the second episode of the Panhandle Adventure Trail. In the third episode, we are going to interview the Cow House Coffee Shop owners.
Oh, that was fun.
That one, we did sit in the middle.
Okay.
And I also am very thankful that when I got back to the house and I looked at the footage, it didn't stop in the middle of the interview. It made it all the way through it. Oh yes, that was a big one. I was I was wiping the sweat off when I was watching that footage
because that was fun. They were neat.
They were great people. Yeah, absolutely.
But we have to have a 360. Correct. So for that reason, really the only option for us is the Insta360, and they are great with the 360 footage. I mean, their name is Insta360, blah 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 blah. So that was how they really got their name. Then later they came out with the action cameras, you know, like the Ace and the Ace Pro. So we have to have the Insta360, in my opinion. The problem is, I would love to have the Insta360 as our 360 camera and the DJI as the throwaway camera. Throwaway, that sounds terrible. The camera in harm's way. But when we're riding down a bumpy road, we control our cameras with remotes attached to our handlebars. Yeah. And this remote can operate up to 5 different cameras for the GoPro.
Is this the GoPro one?
That's the new GoPro.
Is this the GoPro remote?
Yeah.
So it can't, actually.
Yeah, it can.
No, it can't. I'm telling you.
You're thinking of the old one.
Oh, the old, is this the new remote?
This is the new one.
So the old remote
was terrible.
Yeah, it couldn't do anything.
This one.
No, oh, wait, yeah.
Switch it for us, partner.
Yeah, you got it.
This one is the remote, and this one is great. Yeah, we really like that one. Because the last couple of trips, like the Panhandle Adventure Trail, I connect my 360 camera and my Hero 8 to the same remote control. And then we're riding along, and I'll start recording on my Senna, and all I have to do is hit one button, and both the 360 and the action camera instantly start recording, which is great for editing.
Yes, because then we have all of the clips. It's a very difficult thing to do this when you're doing it on the road. But it is much easier to reconcile and align 2 Senna cameras on our helmets, 2 GoPros on our bikes, an action cam, a 360 cam, and a drone.
Phone.
Well, we're not often rolling on the motorcycles. We're rolling phones, but often we're rolling all of them at the same time. And if it's 3 of us,
multiply that.
So the system that we try to adhere to is when we record all of them.
Everybody
when
records.
we stop all of them. Now we break the rules on occasion because we cross a bridge and we just a little clip here to do it. But generally speaking, if you record everything at once, then you know that you have blocks of time that you can line up in the edit. And that's very helpful when you have a remote that can start all your cameras at once.
Same time.
It would be good if the Sennas did it as well.
Yeah,
but it doesn't. Now, this is a GoPro remote, right? Yep. But we had third-party remotes that worked better than the first GoPro remotes.
Yes.
Are these better than the third parties?
I like this was a great remote in my opinion.
So the new GoPro remote is an okay remote for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the problem is if we switch, then I can't get one remote that's going to trigger an Ace Pro down by my wheel and 360.
Do you think that there's a third party remote?
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Okay.
I can't get a remote that's going to trigger a DJI action camera and the Insta360 camera.
Because 2 different brands.
They're 2 different brands.
Right.
So even though the DJI theoretically is the better fit for us as a standalone camera, in order to stay in the same family, we're leaning towards getting the Insta360 360 cameras and then going with the Ace as our action camera.
Right.
What do you think? I don't know.
Have
you tried the Ace? Will it work for us? Is the image quality that much better on the DJI that you would think that we should just get 2 different remotes? Help us out.
That's it. That's the overview.
I know.
Are you selling all this stuff? Or are you throwing it in the trash?
Trash, man. Jeez, you wouldn't.
There's some things we don't want to sell to somebody else because we know the problem with it. You know what I mean? But if you want a goofed up piece of equipment, you can sure as heck buy one because there we are. We've got a bunch of batteries to go with it. That's for sure.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, it'd be great for some kid that just wants to go out and record his surfing or something like that.
Right.
And doesn't care if it does happen to hang up every now and then. But for somebody like us that we really are relying on that video footage, I'm sorry to say it, GoPro, but we got to quit you.
We got to quit you. It's no-go GoPro, and we're going on DJI and Insta.
Hey guys, help us out.
Yep.
Give us a thumbs up.
Thanks.
Subscribe to the channel. And we appreciate you hanging out with our new set, our little round table discussion. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And if you have experience with the DJI or the Insta360, or if you've had horror stories with your Hero 8, 9, 10, 11,
horror
or 12,
stories.
then leave that in the comments for us. We always reply to every comment.
See ya.